All right, we are live here inside of Game Changers, and I am lucky to be joined by Stacie Peterson. How you doing, Stacie?
Doing well. How are you?
Good. I'm good. I'm excited to have you because I know that your story is going to inspire and motivate everyone who is lucky enough to be watching this right now and on the replay. So let's dive right in. So, how long have you been at eXp officially, and how many agents have you personally sponsored? And then, how big is your team?
All right. So officially, I've been at eXp for just 6 months. So this is the start of my 6th month. And my organization is at 156 agents. So it's been, just a fun time. I've been a real estate agent since 2002. So yeah, it's completely changed my real estate trajectory. This isn't something I ever thought. I never wanted to be a broker, and I'm not the broker. And that's sort of the benefit of, getting to use your impact in other ways without having to be a broker. So
That's awesome. So licensed since 2002. How many agents have you personally sponsored? Did you mention that?
no, sorry. I've personally sponsored 12 agents.
Oh, awesome. That's what's cool about this model. It's like you can go out, sponsor 12 agents in 6 months, watch that grow into 156 agents. It's like, that's what's mind blowing. It's like if you want to start your own brokerage, you're going to be the one responsible for getting those 156 agents. Maybe eventually you have enough, revenue to be able to hire maybe a recruiter or something, but like it's pretty much all you. And with this, you were 12 of that 156. Like that is so cool. And I just love that. So cool. So let's talk about it. So you've been licensed since 2002. Talk a little bit about like most recently, like you had your real estate team. Talk about what you were doing volume wise with your real estate team, what happened with that, and then kind of why you joined DXP.
Sure. So, over my real estate career, I was a single agent, then a co-owner of a kind of a shared services team, really before teams kind of became popular. And then in 2011, started my last team. And in about 5 years, we grew to 300 transactions, which was 65 million in my market. And my market's not huge. My market is about 180,000. And then when you add sort of a couple little towns beside us, we're at about 200,000 people. So 300 transactions in a 200,000, you know, population was a good business for sure. And I loved that. I really loved the team. I loved working with agents, that I could kind of help grow. But I realized that my reach was sort of limited to that team. And so I was lucky enough to be coached by an agent named Lars Hedenborg. And he asked me if I could help other agents coach his stuff because I was kind of progressing through it pretty fast. And I like systems. So I always like to create something that can run completely without me. And so I started working part-time, like 1 day a week, and then it went to 2, and then it went to 3. And then now I actually run Real Estate B School, which is that coaching company. So I'm the CEO of that now.
That's awesome. So that's massive. I mean, 300 units in a town of 200,000, like that probably put you at maybe number one or number two in your market, I would gather.
Yeah, we were always kind of flopping. There was kind of like 3 teams that would just,
Yeah.
sort of kind of flop all the time.
That's cool. That's awesome. Good for you. And then, or then you were able to actually sell that real estate business to your partner, right?
Yes, yep. So
Cool.
from the beginning, we wanted to build a team that was, would allow us to exit production or at least work with the people that we wanted to. At first, I didn't think exiting would be possible. So we created, a business that was ultimately saleable, and my business partner bought it from me. But honestly, with the systems and the tools that we had, and because we weren't in production, we could have sold it to, any person that wanted to be a buyer of it. But
Yeah.
we were not a brokerage, so we didn't own any brick and mortar. There was no brick and mortar. It was strictly a team.
Yeah. That's so cool. So now you're running real estate B school, and that's really awesome. You and I coached together through real estate B school for a minute there.
Yeah.
And I loved my time at B School and just loved you and Lars. And then through my coach at B School, he actually shared eXp with me, and that's how I got the eXp. And I think God just sometimes perfectly aligns things to work out in a beautiful way. And I couldn't be more blessed to be working with you, John, Lars, all from our like real estate B School days together. So it's really fun what we're able to do here in the Game Changers group now together. And I'm just so proud of you, Stacie, to have 156 agents in 6 months. Before the call, I was asking Stacie if she knew how long it took me to get there. And I made her guess because I love making people guess stuff. Like my wife probably drives her crazy. Like every little thing, I'm like, guess this, guess that. And she's probably like, tell me sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And Stacie nailed it. It was about a year. And that just goes to show you guys that you're not too late to this opportunity. When prospects use as an excuse, it's false. And so many people are growing faster than I did. And I'm so happy that's happening because it proves the model doesn't matter when you get in. And I just love to see people win. And Stacie's just absolutely crushing it. So
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Let's dive in. So like what would you say is the biggest reason that you're growing right now? Like talk about like why are you growing at that pace? Like what's your strategy around it?
Yeah. So I really focus, number one, on people I want to work with. So I think sometimes it can be overwhelming if you're thinking about, oh my gosh, I have to talk to every single agent that I ever known that I may have, ever done a deal with. That's just not the case. You can, but for me, it was really about working with people that I want to, truly aligning with them, and then helping them grow. So to me, it's exactly like growing a real estate team and then growing, or agents that work alongside you. The whole strategy is just having conversations and piquing their interest and not making it about me. If I make it about me, I will quit right away, right? Because then it's my ego attached to it, and it's not. I look at it like this is a gift that I have, and I just get to tell the story to someone and try to find out if it can relate to what they want to build in their life for a story. And if it aligns, then we continue down the process of due diligence for them and, just see if it's a good fit. Yeah. And if it is, then I'm lucky enough that they join me. And I take that really seriously. I want to make sure their experience is good. I want to make sure that they have the resources that they need, and they're excited too. And that's what makes it fun. Like it really is fun. We're all excited about something. We're growing together, like personally developing. We're learning more about real estate. We are talking to people, that maybe we just didn't have any opportunity besides, hey, join my team. Now no, I can talk to an agent in Arizona and, collaborate with them. So that's really cool.
That's awesome. I love what you said. You basically reach out to people that you would want to be in business with, that you'd want to work with. Like, what a fun way to do business,
yeah,
it's so cool. And with this opportunity, it's really the only way we're able to do that. It's really, really neat. So around like your strategy, like tactically, like are you texting them to pique their interest? Are you calling them, emailing? What's that look like?
Yeah, I generally start with, some type of message. It's usually text or email. I find like agents are busy. They're not going to necessarily pick up the phone, which seems odd, but they're not. They're busy. Yeah. Email's probably like, second worst, but texting, all I say is, hey, this is Stacie. How's it going? I know we haven't connected in a while. I just wanted to run something by you. Do you have a few minutes? And that to me is a congruent statement because I just want to see how things are going for them. And, I want to run something by them quick. And then from there, I do just a quick conversation and I send them a couple videos, but I schedule another call with them right away and just say, hey, can you, take the time to just watch these 2 videos? And I promise you, your mind might be spinning a little bit and you might already be forming an opinion, but just watch the videos for me and then let's just connect. I want to know what you liked about it.
Yeah.
And that's just how I talk and how I do things. I'm never going to be like a hard closer. I'm never going to, it's just not me. So that is congruent from me. Like that's how
Mhm.
I would talk, and they know that about me.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great line too. Everyone should write that down. Is you just call out what's already happening. You know, they're already forming thoughts, opinions about EXP, and you're just calling it out like, hey, I know your mind's already racing, your head's spinning about what you think this might be, but do me a favor and just watch the videos and let's chat.
Yeah,
It's cool.
exactly. And it takes the pressure off them too.
Mhm.
Like I'm not saying, hey, grab your lock boxes, grab your signs and run, like we're doing this. It's, no, you're going to have these thoughts, you're going to think about it, but just don't form an opinion. Let's just talk.
That's solid. So let's talk a little bit about like once someone decides to partner with you, because you mentioned that you want to do a great job as their sponsor, so they have a good experience when they're joining. Have you done anything maybe a little more creative out of the box in terms of like just helping them get onboarded and to have a good experience? Like kind of what do you do once they decide, hey, I'm joining?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. I don't know if it's like anything super unique, but I love checklists and I love systems. So I just have a checklist that I go over with them to make sure that they got everything they needed at eXp. We have them meet with the broker. Um, I'll go through that list and just make sure that they've got everything they need, as well as there's onboarding slides that have live links that take them through every single thing. And that wasn't from me. That onboarding slides was from eXp. So I try to plug into what's there, organize it in one spot, and then from there, their experience is better than if I wouldn't have, right?
Yeah.
Not no onboarding is perfect. Nothing's going to
Hmm.
be, and I also let them know that. So I tell them that, hey, if your expectation is 100%, everything is like so smooth, it happens in, 2 seconds, and, we're never going to have forgotten anything, that's just not realistic expectations. EXP does a great job onboarding, but, there's always something little that we have to work through. And so, I think framing what it's going to look like and letting them know, hey, do we need a plan ahead of time before you transfer because you have a lot of things going on and you need to order signs, or do you need to do this? But also on the flip side, they can literally onboard in a day, transfer their license the next day. So it can be super quick, or we can formulate a plan together and make sure it's how they want it to go.
That's great. Setting proper expectations up front and working from a checklist. I was curious to get your answer on that because I know you are so systems oriented, and that's like my weakness, and I know it's one of your greatest strengths. So that's awesome. And it is a big deal when people join us. It's like part
Yeah.
of part of recruiting is retention. It's like you want people to come in and have a good experience, and onboarding at EXP sometimes can hit some bumps. So when you're there to kind of smooth them out, it really helps.
Yeah.
Um,
And you
uh,
want to partner alongside of them, right? That's what we tell them. We're partnering with you. And part of that is making sure that, they feel supported, or pointing them in the right direction of how eXp will support them.
yep. And that getting started guide, that's the one you use from EXP, right? Cool.
Yes, it is. It is so good. And I think underutilized.
Hmm.
It'll take you through the Fast Start series, which is, how you can sell more homes and how eXp helps you do that. Talks about all the education and the training and KV Core and SkySlope. And, eXp has so much to offer that, those slides are just beneficial because it helps them be able to see what we have if they
Yep.
don't know.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I actually got that tip from you of probably maybe a month ago, 2 months ago now, and I have it bookmarked on my
Yeah.
computer. I run agents through that now too. So I'll go back and put that in the comments section, guys. And if I forget, make sure you remind me in the comments. I see you watching, Sam. If you want to put that in there, I'll send that out to you guys. And Sam did ask, so like do you send the modelexplain.com like I'm always promoting? Yeah. And then if so, what else do you send? Because you mentioned you'll have them watch a couple videos.
Sure. So the very first time that I'm having them watch videos, I always send the model explained. And then I send the 7-minute revenue share video. So I just send both of those through my CRM, and then I can see if they've watched it or not. And then get them on a 3-way call. And then after that 3-way call, that's another follow-up, another video. So I'll send like the interview that when Lars interviewed you, AJ, I'll send that. I'll send, depending on where they are at in their journey, maybe the wealth chart video. I might send them the diagram between a brokerage versus eXp, that little video. That's a really, really good one. But yes, in the beginning, those two, the model explained and then the 7-minute revenue share video.
Cool. Is that the one that Brent Gove did?
You know what? I don't even know who's, yeah, it is Brent talking on there. It was loaded in my,
yeah. Cool. Is it the calculator one?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah. And guys, like what I want you to take away from that is she listed many videos. She has a quiver of videos of tools, of arrows that she uses for a prospect, and she customizes it towards what their needs are. So that's really important. And the way that you learn which videos are available and what to send is by watching these calls every Friday, watching John's calls on Wednesdays, because you start to learn what people are using, and then you start to build your own quiver of arrows to go out there and prospect.
Yeah. And this is like, it made me think of that when you said that. This is like my eXp notebook. So of course it's pretty because I have to have it look nice, but these are all my notes. So every call that I'm on, I am a note taker. So I take notes, and then learning how to talk about eXp, I make notes. Objections that I get, I make notes. And that helps me understand what I need in order to help people do their due diligence and move them through the steps. My job is to pique their interest and help move them through the steps, because I want them to know what they're ultimately either saying no to or yes to. I want them to have all the information. Because when I joined eXp, or when I was thinking about it, but I didn't want to let anybody know I was thinking about it, I didn't have anyone reach out to me that took the time to do that. So I know that it's important that someone needs to, reach out to you and kind of move you through the steps. But also, I had this in the back of my head that why would anyone join with me, right? They're going to join with all the big names, right? They're going to join with whoever, they'll join with AJ. Like, why would they join with me? But here's the thing. The big names have already joined, and people are still adding people. And there's other big names that are going to join, but the conversations that you need to have were meant to be had by you. And they're going to join because it's you. And maybe 55 other people have already reached out to them. Maybe no one has. Mm-hmm. I bet people assume I was reached out to, and I was not, which kind of hurt my feelings, AJ. But but I was just in a different position. And so, that it just shows that we have something that we need to just introduce to people. You never know who's looking for something.
Yeah.
And eXp probably has an avenue they're going to provide it to them.
Yeah, that is so good. I love that. Like here you have somebody that was one of the top 3 producers interchangeably in her market, real estate coach, and nobody reached out, including me. Like, there's so many people that if you were to sponsor them at eXp, that would drastically change your life just by getting the one person that are still out there, guys. You just got to make the calls. It's interesting.
And it could even be, I'm sorry. It could even be someone that you're reaching out to and they say no. And you need to ask them, well, who do you know that I could just connect with? Because I think that's a misstep as well, sort of asking for that referral, because it could be 5 people removed from you. You didn't even know them, but through conversations, now you got to meet them and now you get to introduce it to them. Mm-hmm. And they may have said no before. Who knows?
Yeah. It's like, it's interesting, like how you were just saying, like, people are going to choose to work with you because of who you are, not necessarily just because someone else is a big name. Because you don't hear excuses from the top attractors. Like the people I'm interviewing on here, I just don't hear excuses from. But I'm going to share the excuses that I do hear to benefit those who might be thinking it in their head. Because I've heard these verbal excuses from people, and it's It's, well, I don't have a coaching company. I'm not a big producer. All the big names are getting everybody. Like, those are all the things that people make up as excuses. But like, yes, you have had a big team. You are a real estate coach, but you guys, in the first 20 minutes of this interview, you can clearly see Stacie's not signing up people because of that. If Stacie just joined real estate yesterday, but treated revenue share the way she's treating it with her notebook, she's studying it, she's an expert on it in just 6 months. That's why she's growing so fast, because she's treating it like a business and she's passionate about it. And you don't have a notebook that thick of eXp notes if you're not obsessed about it, obsessed in a good way. So I just wanted to make that distinction. So I love to see that. So, man, that is so good. And it makes me think too, I just signed up for this marketing system for people, like, to send out like postcards and stuff. Cause I think it's going to be impactful for my agent attraction and for people's real estate businesses. So, and then the person I reached out to about it, I saw him online, but I saw like other people who like are bigger names. And I specifically reached out to him because I could tell that he was truly working the business. And he wasn't so big with stuff that he's doing that he wouldn't have time for me. So I strategically reached out to somebody that was more of like, a low to mid tier person in terms of like influence in the real estate industry, because some of the big names, like if you sign up with one of the big names at eXp, like you're not going to get the same attention as you're going to get with Stacie right now. Like it's early at eXp, but it's even earlier in Stacie's downline organization than somebody that has 5,000 agents. And I would use that as an objection handler if you need to. And I think the smart people are realizing that too.
Yeah, because I can document my journey pretty easily because it's been 6 months. So I know what I've done and I know what I've not done. I know that I don't spend enough time doing it, because that's always another objection to, well, you're not in production, you must have all the time in the world. I'm like, no, I don't. I have to fit it into the nooks and crannies of my day, because I'm running a coaching company. I'm a mom and I have a husband as well. And, we've got lots of things going on. In addition to, even though I'm not in production, I'm helping other agents in production. And so, my days are just as busy. So I think you can find any excuse that you're looking for. So, I even had a little period of time in my 6 months where I thought I was so behind everybody else. I'm like, I just must suck at this. Like, man, I'm so behind. And, everybody else is getting people and I'm not, and what is going on? And you know what I realized? That the biggest enemy I had was right here between my ears. I'm doing too much talking and not taking enough action. And when I do that, I'll swim in my excuses versus get rid of them. So I've had to have a few pep talks with myself and say, hey, you better, let's look at the good instead of looking for the bad. Oh, you didn't, sign anybody up this week. Boo-hoo. Get out there and have more conversations. Just, you haven't talked to the person that's going to join with you yet.
Yeah, exactly. That's so good. And that's why I like doing these interviews is so that people can hopefully get a pep talk through these videos, these interviews that we're doing. Because it's crucial. It's like the thing stopping people from success in any area of life is between their two ears. Like you just and like excuses are just so bad. Like I learned early on in like, I think it was 8th grade basketball. Like we had like two quotes that I remember. I think the coaches probably said them over and over. And the coaches were have a no excuse attitude. Like that was, I guess, their saying. And the quote was, if the cows don't get fed, they don't get fed. It's just like, and that stuck with me to this day. That was like 20 years ago, probably more now. And it's just like, if you don't do it, it doesn't happen. So like, if you don't make the calls, you're not going to have rev share. Like any excuse you want to make, you can make. Like the time thing, it's like, you're out of production. Who cares? You're your own boss. Stop selling 60 houses and only sell 40. It's like, right. You can make time. It's like, stop wasting so much time on Netflix. Get off Facebook, get off Instagram. Like, I mean, right. Like realistically, like how many hours a week are you spending in this? Like if you were to average it out over 6 months.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, actual actions that are like direct income producing activities. And so I'm not including like training videos. So just me having conversations 2 hours a week. I
Yeah.
mean, it's low.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing to say, but
Yeah.
I guess it's the truth. But I do a lot of personal development and videos and that stuff.
Yeah.
But it just
Yeah.
shows it's not taking up, 6 hours a day, 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have time for it.
And I'm the same way. And I think the most successful people in this are the same way. It's like they spend most of their time on the personal development, and then they take the action, but the personal development kind of always outweighs this. Like watching videos like this, it's like, just watch the training instead of Netflix at night. There's your learning. And then get up an hour earlier. There's an extra 7 hours a week. Just instead of sleeping 8 hours, sleep 7. Instead of sleeping 9 hours, sleep 8. Instead of sleeping 7 hours, sleep 6. And do that for the next year or two and drastically change your life. If you guys aren't seeing this, just don't come to either of us with excuses, because we're going to not allow you to give them to us. So cool. So we're going to wrap this up, Stacie. What would be like this, I guess, the best piece of advice that you could give to someone who's looking to build attraction big that hasn't really had success yet or is just getting started?
I'm going to use something it made me think about when you were talking about your coach, and that is just have a players only mentality. So I used to have a sign that hung above my door in my office here, and it said, players only beyond this point. And I got it from a guy that was in the NFL. And he said that every time they walked into the locker room, they'd hit this sign and walk in, right? So they knew when they stepped into their locker room, or for me, my office, that means that I am here to be a player. Do I show up 100% motivated every day? No. Do I always do all the right things? No. But as long as I can keep that mentality of I'm working towards something, the only way I'm going to fail is if I give up, then that's a good day.
That's so good. I love that. I'm going to take that advice myself. Like, that's so good to just like get in a different state of mind as soon as you walk through that door. Like players only. And I love that visual of like, like getting hyped before a football game and walking into the locker room and everyone's slapping the sign like you see on ESPN game day. That's cool.
Exactly.
Love it. Cool. Well, I appreciate your time so much. This has been awesome. And if anyone has questions, put them in the comments. We'll both go back, over the weekend and check them and comment and help as much as we can. But guys, the only thing stopping you on this is you. And I think if you've been following us for a little bit, that's becoming very clear. All the resources, all the support is there. You owe it to yourself and you owe it to your family to really make something special out of this, and just follow Stacie's lead because she's a front runner and she's making it happen. So cool. Well, thank you so much, Stacie. We'll wrap this up. See ya.
Thank you. Thanks, AJ.